From its humble beginnings to a household necessity, the sewing machine has revolutionized how we make our clothes. Let's explore a few of the inventors, their innovations, and stories behind the machines that stitch their way into history. In 1755, a German inventor received a British patent from King George II for a double-ended sewing needle. Many sources credited this patent as being the first sewing machine-related patent for this double-ended sewing needle. But when I read the actual patent online, his patent stated specifically his invention was designed for working fine thread in needlework after the manner of Dresden embroidery, and he hoped that it would enable poor girls of 8 years old to maintain themselves without being burdensome to their parishes. It was specifically for young girls to do embroidery. How that was supposed to work, I have no idea. Weisenthal's idea was less about mechanization and more about improving hand embroidery. Either way, it marked the very first step toward the creation of the sewing machine, planting the seed for the revolution in needlework that was yet to come. In 1790, Thomas Saint, a British cabinet maker, patented the design for what is believed to be the first sewing machine. His invention was intended for stitching canvas and leather, and it included features that were far ahead of its time: an overhanging arm, a vertical needle bar, a feed mechanism, and a looper that formed a chain stitch. Now, there is no evidence that Thomas Saint actually built his machine, but his patent drawings laid the foundation for future inventors. Nearly a century later, in 1874, William Newton Wilson, say that 5 times fast, William Newton Wilson rediscovered the plan, making small adjustments, and he successfully built the working version, proving that Saint's 18th century concept could have worked. In 1810, Balthasar Krems, a German stocking weaver, designed a machine to sew the turned edges of caps. This was one of the earliest attempts at automatic stitching. His invention used a foot-operated wheel and created a continuous chain stitch, but unfortunately it didn't work well enough to be practical. Although his sewing machine was never patented, and ultimately it failed, Krems did make a lasting contribution that changed sewing forever. His design placed the eye of the needle near the point. So this simple but revolutionary idea became the foundation of every modern sewing needle that's used today. Balthasar Krems may not have built a successful machine, but his clever needle design permanently stitched his name into sewing machine history. In 1814, the next inventor, I'm probably going to mangle his name, Joseph Madersperger, an Austrian tailor, unveiled his first sewing machine. It was a remarkable device that mimicked the motion of a human hand. He devoted years of his life, along with all of his savings, perfecting his invention. Although he was granted a patent in 1815 for a sewing hand, Madersperger lacked the financial backing to produce it, and the privilege expired after 3 years. Undeterred, he continued experimenting, and in 1839 he built another machine that used a chain stitch mechanism. Sadly, his work never reached commercial success and he died in poverty, though later generations honored him with memorials. Joseph's persistence and vision, even throughout his failures, marked him as one of the sewing machine's true pioneers. 4 years later, in 1818, 2 American inventors, John Knowles and Reverend John Adams Dodge, built what is believed to be the first sewing machine in the United States. Now, their machine could only sew for a short time before breaking, but it marked an important first step in American innovation in sewing technology. Reverend Dodge was a pastor who designed machinery for making horse collars. He didn't have the time to pursue the invention of the sewing machine any further, and a patent was never filed. While their machine was ultimately a practical failure, it represented a vital early experiment and a reminder that even the broken stitches of history help piece together the fabric of modern sewing. I have no French and I'm going to slaughter this name, so please in advance forgive me. But 12 years after our American inventors, we're now in 1830, and Barthelemy Thimonnier patented the first truly practical sewing machine. It was one that mimicked hand sewing. It used a single thread with a barbed needle, and it formed a delicate chain stitch. His machine could sew seams quickly and smoothly, making it ideal for clothing production. He did have investors, and Bart opened the world's first garment factory near Paris, employing more than 80 sewing machines to mass produce army uniforms for the French military. As we've seen throughout history, this freaked people out. We're going through the same thing with AI right now. His factory with 80 sewing machines freaked people out. His success sparked fear among local tailors who saw mechanization as a threat to their livelihood. In 1831, a year after he filed his patent, a mob of enraged tailors stormed the building and burned it to the ground. According to the newspaper at the time, they stated about 150 tailors had gone to a gentleman's house, not Bart's house, a different guy, with the intention of violently breaking in and destroying the machines that were used to create the military uniforms. However, according to the newspaper, there was some members of the local battalion of National Guard, and they ran and they got the police. And the police showed up, a bunch of people ran away, and the police managed to arrest 75 people. This account comes from the newspaper The Monitor from the 20th of January, 1831. Although he never found financial success and he died of poverty, Bart's courage and persistence paved the way for the sewing revolution to come. So that was 1831.
Hi, Editing Lori here. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. My original plan was to make a video about 10 minutes long that covered a series of inventors that contributed to the creation of the home sewing machine, ending in Isaac Singer. I got all done recording the video only to realize that my camera had died part of the way through. So I decided to get this video out and have the next one follow up hopefully next week. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the story. Bye-bye for now.